started, then I was inspired. Now I'm sad and tired. Listen, surely I've exceeded expectations. Tried for 3 years, seems like 30. Could you have as much from any other man? But if I see the saga through and do the things you ask of me, let them hate me, hit me, hurt me, nail me to their trees. I want to know, my God, I want to know, my God. I want to see, my God. I want to see, my God. Why I should die. Will I be more noticed than I ever was before? And would the thing that's said and done matter anymore? I have to know, my Lord. I have to know, my Lord. I have to see, my Lord. I have to see, my Lord. If I die, what will be my reward? If I die, what will be my reward? I have to know, my Lord. I have to know, my Lord. Why should I die? Can you show me now that I will not be killed in vain? Show me just a little of your omnipresent brain. Show me there's a reason for you wanting me blind. You're far too keen on where and how, but not so hot on why. All right, I'll die. Just watch me die. See you started. I didn't start this. God, thy will is hard, but you hold every card. I will drink the cup of poison. Nail me to your cross and break me. Bleed me, beat me, kill me, take me now, before I change my mind. Now, before I change my mind.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the Amp Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. What happened to the...
I know. I had a song ready, but the thing crashed on me. Hold on.
The thing crashed on me.
Now live from Boca Raton, it's the Brooklyn Cafe Show.
Woo!
And part two. Welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Very nice, Josh.
Apparently it's a tubular Tuesday.
Tubular.
I don't know what that means, but it's tubular.
Where'd you hear this?
I saw it on our post. You know what a tubular Tuesday is?
I have no idea.
Hot dogs?
What's a tubular Tuesday? Tubular. I gotta tell you, Braxton decides to play the #1 song that belonged to my brother.
Really?
He played it down in at the play. He was on the instrument, on the guitar when he played that song. He just flooded me, and I just lost his son this week, so he had to pick that song of all the songs. But that one hits home. That one's it's a deal maker. But anyway, welcome to the show on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. We have new stuff going on today. We got some friends in the UK that are watching. Paul, how you doing? So we're gonna try to entertain you and bring you some different facts of life.
Full lineup today.
Full lineup. And we have also Frank's books for sale in studio.
I know, I'm excited about that.
He says I can have the bag.
I thought he was sleeping over. I wasn't sure, and then I realized what was in the book. Christine, I thought he was spending the night here. But I'm really glad that we're going to be able to offer Frank's books here, just like we were able to offer the art here. So you don't have to worry about ordering them on Amazon anymore. They're going to be available for purchase right here at the studio, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool. And we got a few friends.
We've got, yes, our longtime friend. We've got Michelle Landers, our in-house numerologist, who's actually in-house today.
In-house. We can actually say in-house.
And her brother, which I cannot believe, this is her brother, Arthur Tastanello, joining us. I'm glad Arthur's feeling better. And Frank Raffola's here, Lynn Everard, and then we've got Wendy Elliott coming in, co-founder of Elite Foundation, who you called her for one thing, and then I brought her in for another. Everyone's got multifacets, multi-layered. Keep going.
She called me, and she says, you know who this is?
Of
Sure,
course you do.
of course.
Not,
It's been 3.5 years, almost
It's been a
4
long
years.
time. But they just came up with a whole new curriculum for kids for human trafficking, which is a great idea that they came up with curriculum, but it saddened my heart to think that we actually have to teach our kids about the safety of human trafficking. Remember before it was just don't talk to strangers, don't take candy from strangers, don't get into strangers' car. Now it's appropriate touch and all of these things.
It's funny, I don't remember that. The only thing they taught me is fall, roll, and some other
Stop,
thing.
drop, and roll?
One of those things. That's what they taught me. I went home, I told my mother in Spanglish, I said, I got to roll and fall. And she says, why would you got to do that? I says, I don't know. I had
Stop,
no
drop,
idea.
and roll.
Yeah. What was that? That was fire?
That was for fire. I guess you fell out the window in the Bronx. Stop, drop, and roll?
Yeah. Tuck.
The only thing they
Tuck?
taught us is
Tuck.
the only
Nobody
thing they
ever
taught
said
us
for me
is
to
that in
tuck.
case of a nuclear attack, crawl underneath your desk.
Do you know when I was in kindergarten, they used to put us in the hallways with this for nuclear, right? And now I look back at the stupidity of that. So I'm going to melt in the hallway as opposed to anything else.
I'm just
Or
thinking,
underneath the desk.
he's underneath his desk. His desk is going to melt out all over him.
Do you know that people get underneath the desk when a tornado's coming? Have you seen this?
Yes.
Because they were taught that in school. You get underneath a desk to stop the falling debris. Not that you're going to fly up with the desk about 400 miles. Get underneath the desk. I remember that with the nuclear stuff.
Sometimes we're simpler, but yet we didn't know it then.
And I told you that I went up to what's the name of that place? Doro. Looking for the nuclear fallout thing that they built up there.
Oh, St. Augustine?
No, further north.
Oh, yeah.
I went up there. I can't remember what
Mount
the hell it was.
Dora.
Mount Dora. There is a nuclear thing built in Mount Dora. It costs $50,000 and nobody knows where it is.
That's very helpful, isn't it?
Nobody knows.
Mount Dora is lovely.
You live right near there, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Do you like decide what days you're gonna live?
Yeah.
Just hold your mic.
Talk into your microphone.
Okay,
Do you have a house in Mount Dora?
no,
Is that green light on?
it is.
Okay. So you go up there to stay every once in a while?
Yeah, a few, maybe 4 to 6 months a year, and then I'm down here. I don't think this is on, though. Is this on?
It's on.
I don't know. Is
Yep,
it on?
They hear you.
Is it working?
Yes,
Well,
Yes, I
Keep
think
going.
it is.
you're good.
I thought I had a little more vibrato to my.
No, you would
voice.
have to sing. Do you sing?
I do.
So why don't you sing a song for us? No. And then we can have all the bravado you want.
All my.
You could
only
tuck,
for my-
roll, and whatever the hell
Yeah.
else you do.
Stop, drop, and roll and tuck.
No, she said tuck. Tuck.
Tuck.
Fetal position.
Yeah.
It's coming. So I went up there looking for the secret. I didn't know you were there. Now I will. The secret bomb shelter built. There's a bomb shelter that's built by 25 families, built it from a book that they were supposed to protect themselves from nuclear holocaust in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. It's a famous book.
Did you find it?
And I have the book at home. I'll bring it in.
Did you find the bomb shelter?
So I found a video and drove out to where the guy said.
And
I found nothing.
it made it underneath.
There was a mountain and it has wires in it. So I guess you would have to dig down, and there was a guy with a big gun.
There's
in
got to
his
be a
house. Get
door
off
out
my
there
property.
protecting it.
that's interesting. In Florida, you don't want to dig too deep.
Well,
down.
this thing is a mystery because you never ever build a bomb shelter in Florida. It was built, it's there, there's records of it, but nobody knows where it is.
Except those 5 families. We'll see.
25 families.
So you're going to find out what's happening with our numbers for 2023?
I'm still afraid to find out what the hell's happening when numbers are 2021.
I got to tell you though, when Michelle told me that night that Arthur was her brother, I thought this is the craziest thing. How was that even? We had no idea, and I don't think Arthur knew that we knew Michelle when he was on our
Did
show
you know
with
we
Lynn.
knew her?
No, I didn't.
Did you
I
know we
did
knew
not.
him?
Did I know?
That we knew him?
I did not until.
Wait
Until
till,
that
wait till,
was
wait till
changed.
you guys meet the sister you never knew.
Do they look alike?
They do.
Do
They
we?
do.
A little bit?
How clo-
Absolutely. They even talk the
We
same.
do.
They even say the same
Little
words.
bit.
Yes, you
Little
look
How
exactly.
close in
alike.
age are you guys?
5.5 years.
Yeah.
Who's the
Oh,
older?
but
Who's the
no,
younger?
don't even go
I did
there.
not. You notice I didn't ask that.
Who's
Yeah.
You
I
don't
just
ask-
asked
She's a
the-
woman
Freddie,
and
you
she
don't ask that of a
understands. You
woman.
don't
You
ever
can
ask
ask
that
me,
the? I
question.
didn't
but
ask
then
your
you know.
age.
You can ask.
Hey,
him.
numbers.
Ask
Take
him.
it easy, numbers. You talk to me about numbers. We can't talk numbers. Wow.
I can talk numbers, but not my numbers.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad, Arthur. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you. Yeah, it was just a little hernia, and they'll correct that. And
Just a
Another
baby
month,
one.
just a baby one.
You know,
hernia.
Puerto Ricans know how to take care of hernias. You let me know next time you come see me. I take care of that real quick. What do you think, Frank?
do you want to stop the show and do it now, or in the back?
Well, let me see if I got my
You
knife.
have a pocket knife in, you got your knife right there?
We can do it whenever you're ready.
What's it? Yeah, what Brett's in Freddie's pockets is a whole show into itself.
Yes, there's a whole thing of cluster down there, as they say.
Do you guys ever work together?
We did a
a long time ago, though. That was
very
like,
long time ago. We
What'd
did
you
a
do?
whole We did a song and dance routine. and
Okay. What was the name of the song we can put you up there? You guys can do it.
no. We did a seminar together.
Yeah.
Probably about a dozen years ago, something like that.
You know, anything beyond 3 years for me, I lose track of time. So you could tell me,
That's pretty good because anything beyond yesterday, I don't remember.
okay, yeah.
So
I think they do
So it
stand
was
up.
a while. It was.
You guys had a comedy, right?
We're checking to see. You notice everyone went on alert there. We'll see how we're going. All right, Arthur, what's happening with your books? You've got.
They're still
We
here.
started doing it. We started doing our first day of Love Yourself and Look in the Mirror.
Right.
And we need to continue that. That was on Valentine's Day. We started going through the book. Is why you said we've got the mirror. Everyone to look in the mirror and say, "Oh, I love myself," and truly look in that mirror.
I said that.
Did you do that? Did you actually do that?
Yes.
When you walk into the studio, you go to Studio A, there is a mirror there. That's its intent is exactly that. Every day. You should look in that mirror every day.
And
And we
do
do.
you really look deep into your eyes, into your soul at that point in time?
About 58 years ago. I've done it ever since.
Wow.
And I've talked to people about doing it ever since. It's funny. It's how I met Dawn. We talked about that. The mirror
Pretty
never
powerful,
lies.
isn't it?
Never lies.
No.
You know, you have to be honest with yourself. And sometimes you can say, I'm the best, I'm this, or you could be a cheerleader. And you look in that mirror, man, and reality will hit you real quick.
But who has time to do that? Because the next thing
You
you
do
know,
it every day.
Next thing you know, you're crying and you got to go to work and you knock the mirror off your car and you're supposed to love yourself, but yet you've just destroyed.
Yeah, but
stuff.
those are the elements around looking in the mirror, not the mirror.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. That's
Don't
not really
confuse
not
it.
looking into you, into yourself. We can see the physical shape of ourselves and, wow, I look older, or I look good today, or I don't look good today. But when you actually peer into your own eyes in the mirror, that's the real test of who am I? And I don't know anybody that doesn't, if you really do it the right way, I don't know anyone that doesn't break down at that point in time.
Should. That's a common denominator.
But I don't think people are willing to break down. They don't want to. Because then you got to let all those walls down.
You got to be honest. You know, crying is part of the game.
Yeah.
You know, shedding a tear, shedding, you know, and death.
The only person that can affect change in the world is the person you see in the mirror.
That's right. That's exactly right, Frank.
And it's an honest conversation you have to have with yourself every single day. Everything else is pomp and circumstances. That's why, you know, you wake up and you say, today is a good day. Because you're able to say it, not because you're able to think it. If you can't say it, you're having a bad day.
I think we talked
we're
about
here.
this the last time, just being thankful for what you have. Instead of waking up and saying, oh, gee, my day is, I need this. I need a bigger car. I need a better something. I need more clothes, or whatever that is. Instead of that, just, hey, I'm here. Thank you, God, for what I have. And go on with your day.
It's funny, I went to the Magic Kingdom a week ago. Never been. I've never been. In 60 years of my life, I've never been there.
That's
It's
amazing.
the only one I haven't gone
Right?
to. Everybody says that to me.
And
Yeah.
So I went there, and this little girl was on her father's shoulders. She says, get out the way. And I went, what's wrong? The parade is coming. I said, the parade? She's three or four. The parade? There's a parade? Yes, it's coming. Watch. Stand right there. Don't move, she tells me. Her father is laughing so hard he's crying. She told me everything about the parade
Oh,
through the
sweet.
eyes of a 3-year-old.
Oh.
So then I came to Dawn. I said, you know what? Monday morning when I come to work, this is my Magic Kingdom.
It is.
This is where I come to feel like that little girl, because you know something, you don't have any age at Walt Disney World. You don't.
Right.
You don't. You turn into a child,
Right.
which is the way life should be, right? So exactly
Absolutely.
what you're saying is the way I reflect it. You know, I guess you got to get older in life to sort of appreciate that, because these young kids, they just don't get it, man. But we were young once. We didn't get it either.
No, I certainly didn't get it. I've been spending decades working on myself. I still do that today.
Well,
It's
you kinda-
interesting how you change.
You kind of think that you're immortal. And by the way, speaking of
Am I turning immortal?
immortality,
Am I going to become immortal?
well, it's possible.
Well, you know, I like this lady more and more. I think you're going to have to stay with us a little longer.
It's possible. It is definitely possible, because there are so many advances and interesting studies being done in the quantum field. You know, what I don't know if you do know that or you don't know that, but there's so much, so many changes going on. The way we look at the world, and what it really means, and what is time, but I guess we don't want to go that deep today, do we? Or maybe we do.
There is no time.
Exactly. There really is,
is
no
no
time.
time.
So talking about immortality, I think in the next 10, 15, 20 years, there are going to be inroads being made, or about how to extend life, and how to extend your life, how to be healthier, advances in medicine. They're going to skyrocket, technology through the roof. And that a lot of that AI stuff, which is both amazing and terrifying at the same time, I think we're going to see a lot of that in the next year because Pluto is going into Aquarius. So
What does that have to do with AI
it's
and advancements in health and quantum?
because Aquarius is all about, besides the fact that it's about humanitarian, it's all air, mind, a lot to do with the tech world. So Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is the world, the underworld, you know, and this is bringing all of this stuff up to the surface. So Pluto was in Capricorn, yes, and Saturn was in Capricorn as well, and that kind of restricts things. So now things are just opening up, and you'll see a lot of it this year, but even more so next year and moving forward.
I gotta ask you a question because I'm
Yes.
amazed. So you know all of these Plutos and planets and all this stuff, all this alignment and everything else,
Not really.
but you do.
Frank does.
Where do you guys get that information?
So astrologers, and I, you know, I just, the caveat or the qualifier or whatever you want to use, what word you want to use this morning, because there's too many words going around in my head this morning. But I will say that I'm not an astrologer. I'm a numerologist, but I do know a little bit about astrology, and I check it out with people that I know, and it's all about the movement of the planets and the stars. And in the most simplest way, I guess, to explain it or to make it understandable is that you know that the moon has a tremendous pull on the tides, right, which is water. So that just gives us one real physical understanding of how planets have an effect on, you know, something very physical like water. And so the movement of the planets and how they change signs and how they form trines and quincunx and all of this other stuff has an effect on
But
us.
these are planets in our solar system, because there are other planets in other solar systems.
Correct.
And you know this for a fact.
No, I don't know it for a fact.
But you do know it because you're telling me yes.
I'm telling you that, and all of this is just based on my beliefs and what I've studied. So do I know anything? I don't know anything.
Well, how come you tell me where things that are going to happen happen? I mean, your record with me is kind of scary, to say the least.
It was scary.
Yeah,
I
because
don't want to scare you.
It's not scary. She's
Oh,
always
yeah,
right
it's
on
for
point.
easy
She
for
probably
you to
has some
say.
news for us because we're already in 2023.
I understand that, but
You have news for us?
I'm shaking.
You have
here.
news for us in 2023?
Well, didn't I? You see, I knew this morning when I was leaving,
I
I
forgot
said,
something?
instead of bringing all of this planetary stuff, I should have brought, I should have brought your charts.
That's okay. You have to come back.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Okay, I'll do it next week or the
We'll
week
do it
after.
next week. All right, we'll take a commercial break. When we come back,
You would have to do that.
we have
But-
to talk to our planet
Bring a
expert over
whole
there.
card.
What is that?
Oh,
Tarot cards.
ooh, we got
Isn't
close.
she the one?
No.
Was it her?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm afraid, but maybe we'll be.
Oh, now you're afraid.
After
I pulled
the
the
day
death
I've
card
had, yes.
3 times in a row. There's only how many death cards are in that packet?
Today? I don't know. I'm only teasing.
I pulled 3 in a row.
You can't
One,
pull 3
two.
death cards unless you shuffled them and then
Yeah,
you shuffled
3
them.
times.
Okay.
Because I told her I wouldn't.
That's transformation.
Yeah, and then I got thrown out of 3 different things in one day.
That's wonderful.
What?
We're going to take a commercial break. More to come. Stay tuned. Planetary alignments, tarot cards, Frank, Lynn, Arthur, and Michelle. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Known for his Art Deco Cubist style and compositions with dancing saturated color, Ken Bieberman has lived and breathed art his whole life. From the early 80s, he's influenced the Art Deco district of Miami Beach. Featured in numerous restoration projects, hotels, galleries, and clubs, Bieberman creates for everyday folks and celebrity clientele. He's also the proprietor of Art Repro, a giclée and scanning company in Pompano Beach. When it comes to scanning high resolution, size is not an issue. Professionally scanning art up to 10 feet and 64 inches in width, Art Repro utilizes state-of-the-art equipment. On quality canvas or paper, archival ink and printing mediums are put to use. Art Repro ensures colors are true and every nuance of the art is captured, including the canvas weave. Perfection is the priority. Contact artist Ken Bieberman today at 954-547-0095 or visit his website www.artrepro.net.
Being a successful woman in business means having the courage to own who you are. We understand the challenges faced by women, and we are here to help. Our team is here to develop the best strategy designed just for you. Your path is unique, and with the right tools, you can accomplish your dream. From radio to TV, from podcasting to magazines, we create the visibility to amplify your impact in business. At New Dawn Media, we are here to help bring your message forward and help your business flourish. It is time for your message to be seen and your voice to be heard. Contact us at 866-224-5422 or brooklyncafe.tv. Your voice can make a difference.
Le Sorel Restaurant, home of the authentic Italian tradition, offers a large menu that consists of seafood, steak, homemade pasta, brick oven pizza, and homemade desserts including a wide wine selection. We also have the best bar in Boca Raton with delicious cocktails, homemade limoncello, cappuccino, Italian espresso, brandy, and other specialties, open every day with a lunch and dinner menu. For more information or to make a reservation, contact lesorelrestaurant.com or call 561-235-5301.
There is no way to ignore it. You hear it on the news, online, from your friends and family. What happened to my money? Whether it got hit by falling stocks and bonds, with the coronavirus, shrunk by a floundering 401k with low interest rates, and is riding the extreme ups and downs of the stock market with political elections. Many Americans are worried about their money and how they're going to retire. Help protect your financial future now and call J.D. Melberg for your complimentary book from a leading financial firm that shows you ways not to run out of money whether the market goes up or down. This free book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms that can protect your money for a lifetime. As a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report summarizing the rates and benefits of annuities from hundreds of top-rated insurers, helping you to find ways to get up to 33% more income in retirement. That's right. 2 books, both absolutely free, for calling J.D. Melberg. Help protect your financial future.
Call 877-643-3015.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
And now we're back to the Brooklyn Cafe Show.
As long as he's having fun.
He sounds like the announcer at the ball game.
Well, it's all good.
Did you see that? Who was it that told me this? They had an announcer at the golf thing.
Yes, I was telling you. She's a voiceover and an actress.
Did you see that? Yeah, I saw that. They were trying to replicate it. So he has to do the voice of the guy from the Heat. Miami Heat. What's his name?
2 minutes.
That guy.
Minuto. See, even I know that much Spanish.
Yeah, we have to do some of that. Maybe in Spanish, Spanglish, French, a little German.
All right, so
Who
before
was
we
the
went-
guy that used to do the fights, right? The announcer for the fights?
Bruce Buffer, he makes
And
him
his brother, right, joined him then. Yeah, that was
$1
amazing.
million every time you mimic that thing. You have to be careful because he will sue you, man.
Whoa.
What did he say?
Unbelievable.
Oh, don't tell me because then he'll sue you.
Let's get ready to rumble, but it's the
Oh,
way
that?
you do it.
Ah, really? That's trademarked.
Trademark, he's gone after more people because they tried to do it on the air, like a voiceover and stuff. Can't do it. You can't even say super anymore because they come after you.
No, it's getting crazy.
Yeah, we have to ask the number lady.
You gotta
How
ask our
crazy is it gonna get?
numerologist before we head over and talk to Frank and Lynn. Apparently, she doesn't know.
She has
right,
some
George?
news,
And
yes.
you're gonna pick a card. Ooh, Josh is like, ooh. All right, Michelle, what you got over there?
Okay. So, Freddie,
Yeah.
you are in, well, you're both in very spiritual, heavy emphasis on spiritual years, okay? So, what that means usually is you're being called, you know, to serve a higher purpose. You're being called spiritually to, you know, raise your
eyes twitching.
vibration.
What are you laughing at?
Okay. So, is that funny?
It's just coincidental.
Oh, okay.
We'll
All right.
get to that story in a second.
So there is, we'll start with Freddie. So you're in 11.2 vibration, and that's a really high vibration. It's one of the illuminating numbers. And it's very much, though, there's a number of aspects. One is about partnerships. One is it's about partnerships, about relationships. It's about teamwork. You really need your team around you this year. You need a lot of people around you to help forward your goals. It also is about women, so it's having more women or more feminine energy around you. So this is all good, right?
God listens.
Yeah. But the no buts. I don't want to say a but. So the other aspect of it also is your need for patience. You have to have patience because things may not go as smoothly as you want. So there'll be like kind of this, you know, not as much as like in a 5-year, but even in a 2-year, you just have to be very patient, work with your team, be very careful about what you say, what you do, and, you know, just work together. And, okay, for Dawn, you're in a 7-year, and that's also a very highly spiritual year. And that is asking you as well to go really, really deep into your spirituality. You're going to have some decisions to make this year. And so I think that you're going to be giving a lot of thought to, I'm not sure if it's changing direction or it's doing something different. And also, people that you haven't seen in a while will somehow reappear in your life or make contact with you.
That's already begun.
Yep, my son's wedding is next month. They're all flying in.
Oh, so you're going to see tons of people that you haven't seen before.
And boy, is there going to be some directional changes.
I can't freaking breathe today.
You could, and
my anxiety's like, whoo!
It's really important for you to spend a lot, this year asks that you spend a lot more time in meditation, also near water. Long distance travel would be fabulous this year. Going to places on water, underwater, whatever. So that's just a tiny snippet, and you know, next time if you want to go deeper, we will. But
Time to take that cruise. Even Sally invited us on.
You got to learn to scuba dive.
I
real
gotta
deep.
go real deep and swim with the fishes, I think, to get through all that's going on.
It's kind of a destiny year for you, though, because the overall energy for the world is the number 7. So we're all being asked. And when it agrees with your personal year, it adds more emphasis to it. So are you feeling any galactic downloads these days?
What the hell does that mean? What is a galactic download?
Do I talk to the angels? All the time.
We have candles in this place that light themselves up.
Okay, that's wonderful.
That's not okay. That is a very scary situation.
I don't think you're really scared of this stuff at all.
When those doors
don't.
begin to flap and you're sitting here, like it happened, I think you were here when that happened, Frank. Were you here? When those doors started
heard it
opening and
on the
closing?
air.
There is a lot of energy in this place.
Oh my goodness, you have no idea.
A lot of energy. Next time I'm going to bring an Ativan with me.
A what? Ativan?
What's an Ativan? Apparently Arthur knows. Arthur, what's an Ativan?
It's a drug that you don't want to take.
Oh,
You
she's
don't
going
wanna
to take
any kind of
Ativan.
drug. Right, take
Do you have
Ativan.
ADD, Michelle?
No, not recently.
Because if you do, this place,
Until you walked in
this
here.
place could throw you out, I know.
This,
That's 'cause
there's
Frank is
so
in
much
here.
energy in here. It's pulsating.
It's funny because we
it's
had
all
this,
inside of me.
we had this conversation yesterday. Lynn, you were here? Yes, was Lynn here yesterday?
No, we got to ask Lynn to come back tomorrow to meet somebody.
Ah, yes. And yesterday it was the same thing. And this has been going on since January. When did I meet you?
Frank?
September. It's been going on since September because one introduced two, then Lynn was here, and all of these people, all these spiritual people are coming forward and everything else. And it's changed the dynamics of what's going on in here.
Sally actually did a reading here between shows yesterday.
Somebody
On somebody that came in for a
came in,
reading.
yeah.
Oh, that's terrific.
She was exhausted by the time she left here. She had half a container of chocolate and a few cups of coffee, and she was like toast. It was a lot, but it
So
was very
that
spiritual.
message that you just said has been repeated time and time again. Let me introduce you to Mr. Frank. And he's laughing because, Frank, why don't you tell them what you
Frank,
do?
you ever get a Galactical download?
I get them all the time.
Tell them what you do, Frank.
I am a writer, author. 3 of my books, well, most of my books give a message, but 3 of my books are based on the days leading up to Judgment Day and then 1,300 years later. And a lot of the stuff that I have written in those books have come true. And I started writing those books in 2006.
Wow. Wow.
And tell them
And
how.
I also have been given the gift to anoint with the Holy Spirit.
Yes, he does. Does that for
Wow.
me every time I see him. And tell him how you gathered this information, that thing that happened to you.
Well, I call it the voices in my head, but I have 2 muses that help me, Archangel Uriel and Archangel Gabriel.
I know them. I do.
And how do you know
They're
them?
How do I know them? The same way that Frank knows them.
And so it grows.
But the funny
They're
thing,
Archangel Uriel is the wisdom of God, and Gabriel is the messenger. And Archangel Raphael is the healer.
Correct, yeah.
So they're with me.
Right now? All the time?
They could be all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we all have guides around us, right? All the time.
All the time.
And maybe that's why it's so busy in here today. There's so many entities in here.
oh no, this is quiet. Well, it gets really crazy when some of the cast of characters like Sally's and some of the others come in here. Forget about it. It gets interesting, and it's funny because I put out those ropes at the front of the studio to invite them to come in, to sort of give them the grand red carpet treatment and come on in, because I always like to fill the house with all of this stuff. We've been doing it 3 years, and that you can feel it now.
You wonder why I can't breathe today?
You can breathe. It's all
Why don't
about
we
looking
do-
in the mirror. That
I'm
whole.
glad that everyone's here. I got my reinforcers here.
So when you said to me about feeling, what is it, galactical? He laughs because I think we've been talking about that for a few months now, eh?
We've been talking about that for a while.
That it's coming.
And it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Russ said that yesterday. He said, in a year from now, it's coming. I said, you going to tell me what's coming? He said, nope.
Russ did an amazing job yesterday. I've known Russ close to 10 years, and yesterday was the first time I saw him take control of a show. He was in charge. He did the alien show.
Did a nice
Lights
job.
In. He did a great job. And allegedly, that was his last show for a little bit. And I told him, no, you got to come back. We have to talk, because that show touched a lot of people. And Sally contributing to her aspect. Everybody has a story, as they say. But Sally was not afraid to tell hers.
She told of her last abduction. She said she's never told of it before, and it was a huge ship, she said, and she remembers all of it. And she never shared it until last night's show.
Wow.
And she did it on the air.
Wow.
Which takes bravery.
Have you heard
to
from Miss
do it.
Sally today?
I haven't, no.
Me neither.
I'll see her Friday here.
All right, hopefully she
in the
wasn't
morning.
abducted and she's still with us. But she shared all kinds of information last night about the aliens and abductions. And you talk about galactical beings,
Yeah.
they all
Well,
come here.
There's so many things that we could really talk about that. But interesting about aliens is, I don't know if you've noticed, you probably have, that the government has been dripping information in little bites on the news about these UFOs.
Yep.
And it's coming out more and more, and I think it's just, they're just getting ready for the big reveal.
Well, 2024, there's a mandate by the federal government. They have to open up certain
Files? or
Files.
Secret, yeah.
Well, there are aliens and there are UFOs, but a lot of that stuff you see is ours.
Oh, that's interesting.
The other thing that came out was the core of the Earth,
Yeah.
the metal ball.
Hallowed Earth?
It's a metal ball. They I don't know why all of a sudden they're coming out with this now, but this metal ball shoots out certain frequencies that are creating now the earthquakes and everything else. I had a vision, I had a dream that I was told that you're going to see a lot more bad weather, earthquakes, tornadoes, and everything else. Because, you know, one thing, if you can't get your act together,
Right.
something bigger than us is going to force
Well,
you
in your
Yep.
book,
to live
that's
together.
exactly what happens
That's
in
what's
this
gonna happen.
book, in Gabriel's Chalice, which, yes, is now available here for purchase. It's exactly what happens.
Exactly what happened.
Yeah, in the January, when I was on a couple of shows doing the predictions for the year, and one of the things I said was weather was going to be incredibly unpredictable. There would be bad weather in places that you wouldn't expect, that there would be tons of earthquakes, even we can expect probably a tsunami. I don't know where that's going to be, but unexpected earth changes and challenges, and lots of Neptune is at work, and Neptune is about water, and that's all year, not just flooding, but toxicity in water and changes and you know, that type of thing. So all year long, it's probably definite that we're going to be.
Well, the core has slowed down spinning. Earth's core has slowed down spinning. And the poles are shifting.
Yeah.
There's a change that's going to be done physically. But, you know, we have no one to blame but ourselves. I also saw, I mean, when you look at snow in the Mojave Desert or wherever in California, 2 feet of snow. My sister sent me pictures in New York. They got snow. And when you start seeing things like that occur, you should get your act together. We
Yeah.
should all get our act together.
Part of California over the weekend, over the last few days, got 10 feet of snow.
Yeah.
We were talking about that.
Yeah.
How was, I got to ask you guys, how was Saturday? The Read It Write It
great.
conference.
It's great.
Yeah,
Great
it
turnout,
was,
great.
It was terrific. We made a lot of terrific contacts.
Yeah?
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I had a
And-
workshop, had people there, sold books. Great place. Nice ball.
Fantastic.
And the people that stopped by to tell us their story, oh boy, we've heard some amazing things. They didn't have booths or they didn't have tables because it was sold out, but some people came in and brought their books with them, and some of the stories were just incredible. Like this one story about, and we'll probably have him on our show, that, you know, Lindbergh flew from basically New York to Paris or something like that, but there was a plane that came the other way that supposedly disappeared, and because they were fighting headwinds coming back from you know, Europe to the continental U.S., it was going to take more fuel. So they actually, when the plane took off, it dropped its tires because that was added weight that they didn't need to have to keep up in the air. And so basically this thing crashed in Maine, and then the people that were there took care of the pilot in the least friendly way possible, and then hid everything.
Wow.
And so this man did a lot of research into this thing to find out where the plane actually landed or where it crashed and the whole thing. So it was just an amazing story, and we were able to meet a number of people that had amazing stories, the things you don't even think about. A veteran, you know, that I spoke to, just his experience of writing a book of short stories. And, you know, we also had an opportunity to speak with people about the Boca Book Review, which is our new service of being able to write book reviews as authors for authors, as opposed to these giant black holes that you throw lots of money into and you have no idea who reviewed your book, and you have no recourse, and you're just stuck with whatever they do and whatever they say about your book.
How many authors were there?
30, 25, 30?
25 or, yeah, about 25 or 30, 20 or 30, somewhere in there, yeah. Some weren't, they had some tables where they weren't authors. Some,
Right. So maybe 25.
yeah, maybe 25.
And the workshop was good. The
And
workshop was great.
workshop was great. Yeah, I did a workshop on self-publishing. I had people show up, and it ran long, had so many questions. It was good.
That's fantastic. All right, we're going to take a commercial break.
Let's do that because Wendy's here.
And we'll take a quick commercial break. When we come back, more with tarot cards, talk more about the books, and we're going to talk to Wendy Elliott, our good friend from Elite Foundation. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
Born in Marseille, France, Max Lazega creates whimsical and free-flowing interpretive art. His 40 years in the construction industry created the foundation for his craft. His unique work displays his view of the future with bold and playful combinations of materials and processes, but the methodology remains consistent. He fuses recycled materials and discarded building supplies into a fresh, well-executed approach. Lazega has lived in Miami, Florida most of his life, where he pursues his lifelong passion of creating industrial art. For more information, contact Max Lazega at artworkstudios.org or 786-326-8873.
Meet Jay Harmon, one of the many artists held in the Brooklyn Cafe Gallery. Jay specializes in various different art styles, but his medium to work with is colored pencils. His unique style comes from being self-taught and years of practice. Jay pulls his inspiration from many outlets like people, television, celebrities, and many more. With multiple original pieces, Jay's art graces the gallery with over 40 plus works for viewing and for purchase. His many years of being an artist has given him a chance to partner with the Derwent brand, giving him the opportunity to try many different work styles and further his craft. Feel free to come down and visit the studio to view his work, or if you're interested in your own Jay Harmon original, he's open to commissions on his website, coloredpencilartist.com, or catch his show, The Colored Pencil Artist, on Amp Media Productions on YouTube and Facebook. See you soon.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? What would you do if you had a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times treatment is fully covered, so why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed by law to take off time from work, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are two good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call us right now and save a life.
Call 855-350-4504. That's 855-350-4504. Call 855-350-4504 now.
Want to save money on your next flight? Then pick up the phone and call, because the best prices are not online. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner. Call today and get the best price on your next flight, guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
Artist Rosie Sherman paints her passions to share with everyone. Expressing herself through bold and vibrant colors, her suggestion and style are always in flux. Inspired by travels, nature, romance, and the human spirit, Rosie makes sure her depiction of women are strong and proud. Her landscapes illustrate the changing seasons in the diverse world that we live in. To find her artwork in the multiple medias you can purchase, visit rosiesherman.pixels.com.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Bailey. Bailey.
Yeah? Yeah?
You gotta say hi. Whoa.
Try again.
Wait a minute, let her cook, let her cook. Those are really nice. What are you supposed to do? Underhand and do overhand. This? Wait a minute. Oh, that was Okay. Okay. Okay.
That one felt better.
Yeah.
Oh.
They had a whole lot of fun, it looks like.
Well, who won? You won?
You won twice?
What was your numbers?
I don't want to talk about it. It wasn't good.
But you know.
The last time I went bowling, I did a 39, and my shoulder wasn't the same.
But he won anyway.
I got 138 on the last one.
That's not bad.
Not bad, not bad.
Mr. Bolo over there. What was your average?
When I bowled, when I was younger?
Hold your mic.
Close to 200.
Yeah, I had a 217 average when I bowled.
I used to bowl.
But that was so many years ago. I had a rhino.
We should go bowling.
We should go bowling. We should do a cafe bowling.
We should all go bowling. I'll pour the drinks because I ain't bowling.
Why not?
Because I got a bad
You used to own a
bursitis.
bowling alley. What's wrong with you?
It doesn't mean that. So what? Michael Jordan played basketball. You can't coach either.
You gotta bowl.
I averaged
well, we
around
should-
170 when I was bowling.
Excuse me?
170.
170 was my average.
Is that now?
No, when I was bowling.
Might have been 15 minutes ago. So I pulled a card. Of course. Yeah. You pull a card. Let's start with what card did you pull?
Oh, I don't. I
Three
put
of
it back.
wands.
Three of wands, of course.
Of course. And what do I get?
The hangman.
The hangman.
Get the hangman.
And what does the hangman mean?
The hang. Well, it really.
Talk into your microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
There you go. Hung.
Okay.
That's the first problem.
Well, the hangman, honestly, is just simply about what I had said to you about the two, is needing patience, you know, and
So
because.
that means I have no patience.
Well, yeah.
I have no patience?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, I'm feeling a little lonely right now.
No, don't feel lonely. Two is a very.
Two is
one's
the loneliest,
loneliest
One's the
number.
loneliest number.
Not
Isn't that a
two.
Beatles song?
Yeah.
Not two. So the hangman is about just having patience. It's also, you know, a really spiritual card. Not to say that the other cards aren't spiritual, but some are very directive as far as saying, hey, you know what? Things are moving, things are changing, but underneath the surface, you know, we're working, we, meaning the galactic beings, the angels, the energies, whatever it is, they're working underneath the surface. Your job is simply to be patient and to recognize the signs and symbols and pay attention. You know, I want to tell you something, Freddie. You do have a lot of intuition, and you really need. Is this funny? Is it really? No.
No, you know what? I'm beginning to think that you're saying to me, hey, dummy, patient up. This whole spirit, I think all of it is like, you know, you're going to have to slow down because I'm very demanding. I am. And I want it now. And when I get it now, I want it even faster. Because I believe that I don't sit still.
But I think you're patient, which is why I think this
That's
is
because
funny.
you're nuts. Anybody around you will be patient. You're crazy.
I know. I'm at
So
a whole
should
nother,
I?
I'm
should,
a whole nother level of
Should I
wacky.
blow this up and send it to you, and you can pin it on your mirror or something?
I think I'm going to pin it on my chest.
Okay.
A
Well,
tattoo.
tattoo it. Tattoo it. Okay.
Wow, no patience. We have to give him your keys.
On my makeup counter, Josh, and my keys. Thank you.
So he's here to fix your car. Our good friend Israel.
Israel, yes, is here to fix my
If
mirror
you have
before
any
I go
damage
home.
for your car or any repairs that need
The
to be done.
garage got in my way this morning.
And guess who won? Wasn't her.
The garage. The garage over my car won.
I'm going to have patience. You see, if I was married to you and you did that, I
See,
would
here's
laugh.
the funny thing, and I know we're going to talk to everyone else, that I didn't get the patience card. I got the Three of Wands that talks about planting seeds and all these things coming to fruition and growth. And of course, it's always about wands, which is even funny.
Yeah, but
in
what
itself.
she's referring to is what we're going through now. You know,
Correct.
patience is required. Because, you know, I'm always on a clock. And I've told you this since I met you. I want to be there today. And there, you're going to have to wait 2 years to get there. And you lose a little bit of patience. And when you lose patience, you lose vision. And you don't want that to happen. I mean, that's the gist of what I'm getting out of it.
That's absolutely correct. So are you going to follow that?
Honey, I'm going to get so patient. I'm going to lay back. I'm going to be...
Okay.
I'm going to be so cool. I'm going to just lay back and say, let it all happen.
You know, but patience, if you don't have patience, it causes stress. And stress causes ill health.
That's what's happening right now. My blood pressure has been bad.
So
we
if
can't
you
figure
can
out
be
why.
patient and maybe breathe, I mean, actually take a breath, a deep breath, once in a while, and say...
Once in a while? What about every other breath?
Like for you, I guess every 5 minutes, but for most people, take a few breaths.
Maybe I'm feeling you.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well,
Maybe I'm
I
feeling
hate your
all
car.
You rub off on each other. I mean, you can't help that.
You think?
No, you're
You
not
don't think
feeling
we
me.
rub off on each other?
Yeah, but I don't think you're feeling me. You know, what happens in life, every day changes, right? You get a death in the family, you get a marriage in the family. Two different emotions, right? But it changes your blood pressure one way or the other. She was crying because she has to do that dance with her son.
Oh my gosh.
And that to her is emotional.
Oh, yeah.
Me, I lost my nephew Saturday during a Met game. Of all the times for him to die, thank you very much. The guy hit a home run. I was jumping up and down because I got to see the kid Batty hit a home run. He's a rookie. Well, he's not a rookie anymore. He hit a home run. I was so happy, and I get the phone call. Again, emotions. So patience plays out for me with vision. If you lose your patience, you lose your vision, and you always have to maintain that in order to know where you're going. I mean, it's a simple math. What you're telling me is 100% correct. He's been telling me for the longest.
Who, Frank? Patience?
You know, Frank sits there. If you listen, you can hear him talk. But you have to be able to have that kind of gift, sort of, you know, fixed and molded and everything else. And I get Frank. I do. I really do. And I understand a little bit about why he's here and the things that he does, him in his little bag. But Frank writes books of things that are happening which scare me, you know, and I tell him, stop writing, to be honest with you, because he talked about impeachment of a president and everything else, and he talked about all the different things that occur, about the Statue of Liberty. You know, my brother told me that there was a murder in the Statue of Liberty, and they found a body in the arm. That's why they really closed it down, not because of destruction.
Oh, wow.
Is that true? Don't know.
Do we actually know what's true?
That's
Only
right.
that it isn't.
Does Jack Stenhouse know if it's true?
He knows.
Jack Stenhouse knows.
He knows.
I saw Saturday you had Belle reading one of your books on a picture from Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yeah, she came around to all the tables and picked up and said, "You want to take a picture of my book?" She picked up the book, so we took a picture. Yeah.
Which is perfect.
Yeah, we had one too.
Did you guys sell a lot of books?
I sold 5.
Which is good for an outing like that.
We sold 3.
Nice.
And that was great because it paid for dinner afterwards. So,
There you go.
it all worked out. But it was really more the people that we met and the connections that we made. That
Nice.
is far more.
Is she going to do it again?
Yeah, and we're actually talking about the idea of her doing it at more places, more malls, like maybe the Gardens Mall and Palm Beach Gardens, maybe Boca Town Center, maybe some other places.
She may do it twice a year now instead of once.
That's we had talked about that. We said she needed because she had so many people that wanted to participate. Also, the Movies of the Ray, Rochelle wants to do something for women's empowerment in March.
We're in March tomorrow.
Yep. So we have to talk about that because she wants to give a stage,
Because
a
it's
movie
International Women's Day. I think it's March 8th.
And there's a movie coming out, 4 books or something it's called, with some famous
Sally
movie
Fields, you
winners.
said, I think?
Yeah. Four highlight Academy Award winners. And they want to show the movie off, but they want to do something where ladies will come in and put their message out there. So it might be something for. Now, are guys allowed to go to this, or is it going to be like everything else you do, where I got to wait in the lobby?
I think guys can go. But here's the crazy thing. Ever since Frank and Lynn and Sally and everyone comes into this space, and Russ, I had 2 astrologers call me yesterday. Could they be part of the cafe and pay for a monthly segment to be part of the cafe? One from the Coffee News and one wrote in for something else. And so you ask about spirituality and why you feel what you feel in here. It's because I guess the universe brings like to like. So it grows. And Arthur and everyone's here.
My son called me Saturday morning, and he says, "Dad, I had a dream. I want to show you something." And he put together Spirit Life.
Oh, last year, Spirit Life TV.
Spirit Life TV. And I asked him to put numbers. Remember the numbers I asked him to put from the Bible?
That up. Yep.
And it's there. And he put this whole thing up, and we could put this. But he called me and said, "I had this dream." And that was about the time that Frank and these guys started to come in, because we wanted to put all this on the Spirit
I
Life
think I pulled
channel.
the 3 of Wands, actually.
Yeah, and when we were up at
Of course I did.
at the school,
I pulled the wands
you
also.
pulled the wands there as
and
well.
swords.
You should play Lotto.
I should play a lot. I want to talk to Wendy because I know she's here on lunch between wearing another hat from Boca Hospital to talking Elite Foundation. I know you wanted to talk to Wendy about the medical side, and we can do that also.
We're not doing that.
But we're not going to do that
No.
today. We're going to talk about the new curriculum you have out for I don't want to say for human trafficking, but to teach children how to deal with situations for human trafficking. So welcome back. You haven't been here in a while. She's seeing all the artwork here.
I know, it's amazing. I love it. There's a couple that I might not want to leave without seeing. But it was BC before COVID, right?
Yeah.
So we've done a lot since then. We continued, and actually because of COVID, a lot of what we were doing was more impactful because, the folks that were being trafficked were not safe. We're being out in the community even more so. So there was more of a public health component to it. So I can kind of bring in the healthcare stuff a little bit as we were talking about the survivors and things like that we worked with through the Elite Foundation. So the Elite Foundation is a 501c3 that is anti-human trafficking. So we do a lot of prevention, education, restoration. We have partners throughout the country so that we can help the survivors get the services that we need. We also provide gap and mental health services. So if the survivors come in and they still need, that little cushion before we can get them into some other types of services, we can provide that on a minimal basis. What we're really excited about, and we just launched it, is our traffic proof curriculum. We've been working on curriculum for prevention and education throughout our organization. We've been around now for about 7 years. So we have a college level educational component. We have a high school and middle school component of it, but we just launched our K through 5 animated version. So basically it takes animated characters, puts them in situations that children may find themselves in, to be able to know that this is not right. You know, it could be a stranger, it could be a family member, it could be anyone that they trust. So what types of scenarios would they envision potentially happening, and then giving them the tools to think about it. So we have the 3 T's, and we get them to talk about the 3 T's. One is tricked, one is trapped, and one is, so it's tricked, trapped, and targeted. So, you know, how do they get targeted? We go through the scenarios. How do they get tricked into getting into somebody's car, getting involved with someone online? And then how are, you know, what are the situations that they can get out of? We give them some 3 key points to be able to get out of the situation. Number 1, call 911, obviously. Have some names of folks that they can trust, a teacher, a police officer, a family member that they can tell if something feels wrong, and then obviously running and getting away from the situation if they have that possibility. So it's a really exciting time for that. We've beta tested it at the YMCA. We just did it the other night at a grade school, and you know, the kids are like, no, don't do that, no, or, you know, so it's like really interactive, and then we have those conversations with them afterwards. So we're extremely excited to get it into the schools.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So how do you get children to understand what trust is about? I think that's a big component of it. So how do you get them to know how to trust somebody or not trust somebody? What's the signs for that?
That's really a challenge, and again, it comes from growing up and what values they have in their home, and what their parents and the adults that are around them teach them. And one of the things that we always tell the kids, if it feels wrong, it is, and just, you know, use their instinct, because they know when things aren't right, and they know when they need to get out of the situation, and just believe their gut. They could be wrong, and that's okay. You know, just letting them know that it is okay to get themselves out of any situation.
Trust has got to be hard, because you want to trust your teacher. You should trust your family members, right? Mom, dad, uncles, grandma, and grandpas should be trustworthy people, and now we're saying maybe they're not. Is there warning signs that you're teaching them, or they're key triggers? If you see this, then maybe think that.
Well, the scenarios that we use in the video are impactful enough for them to start triggering some things, but it's not like over the top where it would scare them. You know, it's more scenarios where, you know, you're playing online and you have a friend, and then that friend says, oh, well, let's meet up. You know, is that okay? That's not okay, because you don't know who this person is. You don't get into a car with a stranger because you're hungry or you want something. A lot of the times the predators, and we call him a predator, and he's portrayed by a snake, obviously, but the predators are out there and they're looking at any vulnerability that they can find. Are you hungry? Do you like nice things? Are you getting enough attention at home? Your parents work? You know, so they prey on that. You know, if they see a child spending so much time on their computer, then they're going to target them, because they know that their parents are not really watching them and not taking them off the time of getting it out there. So they just target those specific vulnerabilities that impact that child. And it's very specific and very targeted, as we said.
I'm curious, what are the percentages of family members or friends or strangers? What are the percentages of, is it 20% of family members that are a problem? Do you know that?
I don't know the exact number, but we're not necessarily, you know, when you talk about sexual exploitation as well as trafficking, you know, there's a difference. So family members, we know that incest is happening all the time, and children don't necessarily report it because it's their family member. They don't report others doing something to them because they've threatened them. If they say anything to mom and dad, this is going to happen to your little sister. So, you know, they utilize, you know, children are really smart too, but they utilize what they're scared about to make things happen. I don't know the percentage, but I can imagine that it's pretty high and not always reportable. When we look at the reporting of incidents for trafficking, we know, I mean, the state of Florida had you know, we're number 3 in the country in terms of trafficking, but there's only like 900 calls a year to the hotline. We know that it happens more than 900 times. That's just the reportable incidents. So that's why it's important. If you see something, say something, call the phone number. You know, it's 888-3737-888 if you suspect anything.
Oh my gosh, Lynn, I'm sitting here and you're shaking your head and your story is coming back to me as you're shaking your head. And it's divine intervention again as to why you're even here today. Because you didn't know Wendy was coming. You knew Arthur and Michelle were coming.
Right.
But now your story, as she brings up incest, it's like, holy cow, and here you sit with your story.
Yeah, and just thinking of when Wendy was talking about the threats that are made, and I remember that my father had threatened everybody, all the girls and probably some of the boys in my family, that if they ever said anything to anyone, he would kill their mother and then kill them.
It's one of those moments like last week that how everyone's here who's supposed to be here today is mind-boggling to me.
Well, it's
Thank you for getting us
an
together.
ugly business, and what shocks me is how big it is, how deep it goes. There's all sorts of professionals, athletes, owners of football teams. I mean, you name it. It's out there. Politicians, judges. I don't understand how the end game. It was explained to me one day that these people get involved because they're told it's one thing that's going on, and they don't tell them the real thing that's going on. But if you invest money in anything, shouldn't you find out what you're investing in? Shouldn't you talk to the peoples and where your hard-earned money, especially if you got it that way, where it's going? I mean, don't you ask?
The worldwide problem, 28 million people.
I mean,
It's
this is just
$150 billion
ridiculous.
business.
$150 billion business.
And it is so lucrative, apparently, that nobody asks nothing. If you put in $100,000 and they give you $1 million back, you're not going to ask why? I mean, that's just stupid.
And it's not even the folks that own the, you know, like the pimps or the folks that broker out the vulnerable. It's the folks that participate. One of the movements that we have is a men's group, you know, called our Guardians of Hope. And because we know that it starts mostly with them, there are women who are perpetrators, but it starts mostly with them. So getting the word out, and particularly around the fatherless children, you know, that really don't have that father support. So it's really, you know, we talk about women. We were just talking about the National Women's Day and all this other stuff, but we want to talk to the men. We want the men to understand that they should not be doing this. We had our men's event a couple years ago, and a very famous football player was one of our panelists, and he stood up, and I was one of the panelists, I was the moderator of the panel, and he stood up and he said, I want to apologize for every single woman that sees this and hears this, because as a football player, they were shuffled off to a hotel, they had girls in one room, drugs in the other room, and they participated. And he says, I had no idea of how this happened. He just thought that the girls wanted to be there. And so he apologized to everybody, and that was just so heartfelt for me. I was like, okay. I was like up on stage, you know, about to cry because he's standing out. There's a 6'8" football player, you know, saying that he apologized to all of us for that.
When we met you, you had come out with your first book.
Yes.
And all different vignettes and stories. And you did the second one. And we got to interview, I think, at least half of the authors, virtually or in studio.
Yeah.
When, I don't want to say it's a switch, but you expanded your reach now to kids. Was it a calling? Was there a need that you felt you had to reach out to the schools?
Well, I think, you know, we have 6 now, 6 books, by the way. I know, we have 6, so there's lots more to talk about. But when we first started this, you know, Dr. Jessica Vera and I co-founded it in 2016. Our goal was to work with 18 and a day, right? Because we knew she worked in the children's services, so we knew that up until the age of 18, children there were funding, there were homes, there were things that they could do, but we knew when they turned 18 that there really weren't any services for them anymore. So they were turned out on the streets again to kind of fend for themselves. So our original vision was to provide the gap in mental health services, do, you know, more with the adults to set them up in businesses, teach them vocational skills, those types of things. But as and we still do those things, but as we continued to move forward in our journey, we knew that we had to get the word out there. And we knew that children, even though they were able to have protection, were not always caught and were not always found. So having them become abolitionists for themselves was important. So the high schoolers, we started out with our Project Stay Gold, which was in the high school, having a chapter in the high schools. Then we went into the colleges. So we'd have 3 college chapters for their abolitionists themselves. They educate and they train their peers about what happens. So then we're like, well, we can't leave the little ones out because we know that they're the ones that need to identify this quickly. And both of us being developmental, in our medical professions, we both dealt with children most of our career. We knew it had to be developmentally appropriate. We knew it had to be culturally sensitive as well as trauma informed, so that we didn't want to traumatize children with this. We wanted them to get it and know what to do with it. So it just was a normal flow for us to go into the prevention and education component.
And one of the things I want to jump in and say here is that just because the name of an organization sounds like they take good care of kids, it doesn't mean that they do.
Now, when we first met you, unfortunately, Florida was number 1 in the country. And now we're number 3?
We've always been between 1 and 3.
I was just going to ask you, are we doing
Not a
something
whole lot
positive?
better, is it, though?
Are we getting better?
Again, remember, this is reportables. So California's number 1, New York's number 2. We're tied with Texas at number 3. So the only way Polaris can kind of judge is based on the reportable incidents. Right. And we know that that doesn't happen. So, I mean, we're seeing it. I heard someone the other day say, oh, well, Texas is, really improving. I think it's just becoming more aware. It's becoming more aware of what's going on. Everybody now is starting to say, oh, we have it in our state. We have it in our county. We have it in our city. Whereas before they're like, oh, it doesn't happen in Poughkeepsie. I had someone say, oh, it doesn't happen in Poughkeepsie. I'm like, yeah, it does.
It happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere.
It's like we had the segment that we did about parents and their kids. And parents always believe that they think they know their kids and what's going on around their kids. They don't know nothing. You know nothing. Listen, I had 2 boys, and I'm shocked that I found out more about my 2 kids from everybody else they knew than from them. Because that's the bottom line. There's this thing that they don't rat people out. They don't say the truth. They hide whoever,
Your boys
whatever.
are pretty they keep it close to the vest.
They still do it now.
Yeah.
And we had this meeting with the kids in here as well, and they won't rat nobody out. Well, I'm going to tell you something. A rat will bite you on the where, and will hurt a whole lot of other people. But I was hoping that things had improved after the amount of time that we hadn't seen you. So I guess we're going to have to raise some more, make some more noise, more awareness. It's really funny, since I met you, and when you go to Walmart, you ever notice things happen in the Walmart parking lot?
Nothing
It's
good.
all sorts of strange. Well, you don't go because
things don't happen good in the parking lot.
So-
People come up to my car on bicycles and they want things.
nobody comes up to my car on a bicycle. But there was this guy walking with this little girl. And the way he held her, I was really not feeling it. And I was with Linda. And Linda has these antennas. And she looks at me, and she looks at the little girl walk by. And I waited. And as soon as the little girl turned her head, I told Linda, you follow him in the store, I'm going to flag a cop. And we flagged the cop. A cop came, they went in the store. I don't know what happened. They took him away, they took her away. I don't know what happened. I don't know. But if you are aware of things going on around you, you get that feel in the back of your head, the back of your neck, do something.
Absolutely. That's
Do something.
exactly what we need to do. Thank you, Freddie, because
I mean, do something, because if you don't do something, this ain't going to get better.
Right.
There's so much money in this that everybody's going to say, well, you know what, I feel bad, I feel real bad. And there's always that handout.
It can't be about the money. It's got to be about saving lives.
the other night when we were doing the program with the children, we had the little powwow afterwards to talk to them, and these 2 little girls were just so smart. They're like, we know the sign. Like if we're in trouble, we know the sign.
Oh, yeah, so let's show us what that is. So if we see of anything or we see the sign,
it's just like this, and you just keep doing it.
Okay.
Keep doing
Open
it.
and close with your thumb in. And they're like, we saw the TikTok. there's a TikTok that the girl's doing it behind her back, and there's people behind her. You know, she's like, if anything happens, we know to do this. You know, so again, just little things like that can give the children the power, or women or men, you know, because now we're seeing it, you know, get more into the male situation, but just that little symbol and educating people on what that means. They need help.
What's the phone number again to reach out to for help?
To the hotline?
The hotline.
It's 1-888-3737-888. It's easy to remember. Put that in your phone. You just call them. You don't even have to disclose who you are. You just say, I saw a girl go into the Walmart with a strange man. I just didn't feel good about it. And they'll deploy they have, you know, numbers all throughout the United States. They would call and they would deploy them to go check it out.
Body English is important. You know, there's a way of holding a child's hand.
Yes.
But when they put the arm around them and they're sort of snuggling them real close, that always bothers me. Because who the hell walks like that? You know, you're trying to protect yourself. They probably are holding on to them because they had to go get something in the store. That bothers me. Children's eyes will always give it away if you look. Just take a look when you're walking with people. Be aware of your surroundings. Get your freaking face out of your phone for a minute.
That's what it is.
And
Be
just
aware.
take and be aware. And you'll be shocked. And you ain't got to do nothing. I'm not asking you to be a hero. Call a cop. Call somebody. Take a license plate. Take the color of the car and the license plate and call a cop. Linda makes me follow people. She makes me follow cars. Because Linda's a little bit out there when it comes to this thing. Because she had an incident where she was, it was a gang initiation. 4 guys tried to throw her in a van. Oh, wow. Okay, and that didn't end up well for the other guy. She stuck her key in somebody's face or something. But she knows, she's sensitive to the fact. So we have to become, and isn't it funny? All these people involved in this, until it happens to somebody in their family, won't stop this nonsense. Until something occurs in their home, to their kid, to their wife, this nonsense continues.
And how do people reach out to you for the curriculum or to learn more about your books? Because you do so much with Elite.
Yeah, so they can go to our website, which is elitefundsfreedom.org, and it will give them all the information on how to get in contact with us if they want to volunteer. You know, we're a volunteer-ran foundation. You know, we just hired our first employee, our assistant, so we're excited about that. You know, but everything else is done by all our volunteers, and we have some amazing, talented folks. You know, we did pay for the animation. It took us a little bit of time to find an animator. That wasn't the easiest thing to do, but they just check out our website. We have an event coming. Our Purple Healing Heels is coming up in May, so you can put on your high heels and your tutus. Men as well can wear high heels if they want to, Freddie.
All in.
That was the walk, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it the tutus
Yep.
and the high
Yeah, I
heels? We were
remember
supposed
that.
to do that walk?
Yeah,
Is it
uh-huh.
in Fort
So that's
Lauderdale?
May
ankle.
21st at the Esplanade. So
Oh, we're back to that again. You know what? This year I'll do it.
I'll loan you some shoes.
You don't have shoes that fit
That's
me.
probably true.
Teddy does.
I think you had told us, how do you convert men's
Yes,
shoes
it's like
to
2
women's?
sizes up.
I
Yes.
remember this.
Do you remember that?
I have to go to the store.
Take it to
DSW.
thrift
You can
store.
order them online.
Thrift store.
DSW.
DSW? I'm going to spend $400 a pair of shoes.
No. Wendy, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
Oh,
us.
and then, by the way, Wendy, I do know animators if you ever need them.
Okay,
We
well,
have a few
good to
in
know
there.
now.
We have a house full of them.
There's one right there.
They're all over the
Oh,
place.
look at this. Okay.
Well,
Yeah, it
welcome
was
back.
crazy. We had 2 of them. One just took our money, our down payment, and said, "Oh well, I can't do it." The other one just freaked out because it was like a lot of work. We wanted a 7-minute video, and it ended up being 11. I mean, it ended up being good, but it was a long time coming.
Oh, we have some of the best animators in
Good
the
to
world.
know.
in here.
All right.
Thank you
Was
so
that,
much.
Was
Thank
that
you.
Katie or
That
was
was
that a
Katie.
ghost?
That
Was that a
Katie.
ghost?
She's like Estelle.
I didn't even know Katie was here.
Today is National Tooth Fairy Day.
Now, you have 6 books. I'm pretty sure the editor's desk, a lot of people are going to ask you to come on. So now you
They're
owe
all
me
shaking
6.
their head. Yes.
You owe me 6 visits because I want to talk about the books.
Yeah.
And there's some medical stuff I want to talk to you about, doctors and things on over here. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
stuff. We have a lot
Just
of
let me
catching up to
know.
do. And you better hurry up
You're,
because I
you're literally
pulled,
a mile and a half from me.
I know, it's perfect, right?
I pulled the upside down card. What did I pull?
Hangman.
Hangman. I was the
Patience.
hangman and patience. So I went
You
to
see,
this
he's not so
patiently.
patient. Now he wants her back 6 times.
6, because you got 6 books. She mentioned it.
I know. All right,
And
more
the
to
last
come.
one's all men. So
Oh,
yeah.
Lynn,
The
that's
last
right
one's
up
what?
your alley. All men.
That's kind of scary.
When we met Lynn, it was with this book. Oops. Sorry, Gabriel. How to Speak Your Truth. This was a book we met you, Lynn. And going through that box of books back there, we found it. So, more to come. 888-994-4995. If you notice anything or anything suspicious, please reach out for help. 888-3737-888, which is the hotline for human trafficking. And of course, Elite Foundation and anything we can always do here, let us know. More to come. We'll be right back. My wands. 3 of wands. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to AMP2 TV, the first and only internet production company that's truly plugged in. When you're looking for a full-service internet radio, TV production company, discover AMP2 TV. AMP2 TV is a full-service media company that can provide all streaming videos, video studios, radio studios, and television studios. Call us today at 866-224-5422, for no business is too small to grow to be accounted. It's time for your message to be seen. Let AMP2 TV help get you there.
Stephanie Jaffe is a world-renowned artist who creates one-of-a-kind pieces. Using a keen sense of color and composition, her vibrant collages and mosaics integrate eclectic elements such as vintage keepsakes and fine china with blown glass and fired clay to create whimsical arrangements. For more information about her work, come down to the Brooklyn Cafe TV studio or go to StephanieJaffeArt.com.
Has someone in your family lost a job recently, and now you can't afford your mortgage payment? Or do you have a rental property and your tenants aren't paying you? We can come to the rescue and pay you cash for your home immediately. Yes, sell your home and get cash all over the phone without dealing with real estate agents or having to waste time showing your home to lukewarm buyers. You don't need to lose your house to foreclosure. If you have equity in your home, we'll buy your home and give you cash within days, all in a simple over-the-phone and virtual process. Call now before your situation gets worse. Sell a home you can't afford or just need anymore and get the cash you need today. Call this number now.
Call 855-348-5925. That's 855-348-5925. Again, 855-348-5925.
Tax audits, tax liens, wage garnishments.
Every day we hear stories like this about good folks who are simply struggling to pay their bills. Each of them are living a frightening IRS tax nightmare, and they are afraid it will destroy their lives.
I'm a divorced single mom, and my ex-husband left me and the kids with a lot of unpaid bills, including unpaid taxes. I was really starting to show my stress on my kids because the IRS had sent me a letter demanding a huge payment from me. I couldn't afford it. So then the IRS was threatening to garnish my wages. I'm already living paycheck to paycheck. That would have put me over the edge financially.
It truly seemed hopeless, but then a friend at work told her to call the tax relief line.
The people at the tax relief line, they told me about something called innocent spouse relief. They worked it out so that all of the taxes from my ex are not my problem. I don't know how that works, and I don't care. All I care about is that I don't owe the IRS a dime, and they are not going to take my paycheck.
Even if it seems hopeless, you should call the number on your screen right now. There is absolutely no cost for the call or the consultation. You are under no obligation. If you are worried that the IRS could garnish your wages, seize your assets, even take your home, call us right now. The Tax Relief Line is here to help you. Now you have a knowledgeable, professional team of tax experts that are ready to negotiate with the IRS and fight for you to save you money. The Tax Relief Line's professionals have successfully negotiated thousands of cases, reducing and sometimes even eliminating the tax debt for their clients. It's very easy to get started. Simply call the number on your screen right now. You don't have to live in fear anymore. The call and the consultation are free.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 855-993-2180. That's 855-993-2180. Again, 855-993-2180.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
Music.
And welcome to a very exciting episode of Introduced to the Car. They can't even understand what I'm saying. Why is my tongue blue? Okay, Josh.
Thank you, Disney, again.
Oh,
Hey.
we have a guest today. Who's our guest?
Say hi, Bailey.
Hi, Barry.
It's not two dudes in the car anymore.
It's 2 dudes and 1 girl in the car.
Oh.
I'm the one token woman.
So enemies beware. Well, I've never seen a bigger face with quite so little hair. For the rest of your days, it's all problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata. Oh, we got some harmonies going on there. The rights to the music used in this video are Disney.
Talk while the intro is going.
What's this song?
Oh, you'll know it. This song is from the greatest Disney animated film of all time.
It sounds familiar.
It's put him in a sleep. Saying it
I'm gonna take you to the hospital. In the hospital.
Oh, God. He's threatening me. He said he's gonna take me to the freaking hospital. Yeah, Bailey, you're my witness. I think Josh is trying to threaten me here. He's threatening to put me in the hospital. The way you're driving him. Necessity is the simple bare necessity. What did you get, Josh?
I got barbecue chicken, mac and cheese, potatoes, yuca, and Brussels sprouts.
So, I got my little creation of orange chicken, rice, and french fries. Bailey, what did you get?
I got barbecue chicken, a little bit of meatballs, a little bit of mushrooms, a little bit of
Those meatballs are good.
I know, right? They need to go. I got the grilled veggies, and a little bit of.
This is like a healthy soda alternative.
I got coffee.
Spill it in my car.
Maxie.
I'm the king of the jungle. Oh, God! This should be illegal!
Is it bad?
How do people drink this?
I like it.
I hate it.
I love stevia. You just gotta get like the right flavors.
I got like a lemon twist type flavor. It tastes like cleaning solution.
You could have given it to me!
Turn right.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wendy.
Hey, you ready?
We're ready.
And now we're back to the show with your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
He's a scary dude.
I love it.
He's a scary guy, that Josh.
And we're back. During commercial break, during all the things, everyone's running over to Michelle to pick out cards and everyone's networking. Here's the crazy thing about your card. You pick a card that says, Frank, news is coming. So as she's telling you news is coming, Freddie says to me, the door just opened. And I'm like, of course it did. So apparently and then closed. No one came through the door. The door just opened and closed. And so I'm like, yeah. So let me just preface, there was nobody coming into the studio or out. As you said this to him, he says the door opened and closed. And I said, of course it is. And the news is going to come through here. So we shall see.
What was the card you picked?
9 of Swords.
9 of Swords? So you get swords and I get hung upside down.
I got wands.
I got the Emperor.
You got ooh.
Of course you did.
Wow.
Okay, now somebody.
Well, archangels, when archangels go into battle, they carry swords.
What does the Emperor card mean?
The Emperor card
Just hold your mic.
Strong mind.
Hold your mic. Strong mind? Is that you?
No, I told you I was weak.
You're not weak. You're
What
very
is, are we
strong-minded.
picking the cards that we lack in? Like patience, strong mind?
Well, he said he doesn't have a strong mind, but then when I elaborated a little bit and I said, do you analyze things a lot?
Oh my God,
Think
yes.
about things a lot?
Oh my God, yes.
You know,
That's all he does. That's his hobby. That's his whole.
He's laughing back there.
And that's his other side.
and I said that you also have a good sense of humor, but that covers up some other stuff for you because you kind of close, you keep yourself close to the vest, you play it close to the vest. But 7 is the specialist, so somebody who should specialize in things, but thinks a lot, overanalyzes things, can be a little bit of a worrier about things.
A little bit.
Yeah. But that's just
Let's talk about someone else, please.
okay. Yeah, get the attention off of you.
All the talent in the world. All the talent.
He's very creative.
in
yep.
the world that
And
this kid
the
has.
specialist, which is true.
Isn't it unbelievable? You have that one thing that stops it from flowing.
Now, you know what the amazing
You know
thing
what
to
it
me-
is, right?
Yeah.
It's we all, instead of looking inside, most of the time we're outside comparing ourselves to everybody else. And even if it's not a really conscious thought, we're inundated with how we should be and what we should do.
Where does it come from? Us or things that we
Fear.
were taught?
Well, it's a psychological. Well, okay, it goes way back to how you're raised, because most people are raised with. I'm not saying parents aren't good parents, but most parents raise you on you got to do this or you got to get an education, and it's all about what's out there. How many parents sit down with their kids and say, "Hey, let's meditate, let's talk about what's important to you. What do you like?" If you follow children when they're very, very young, they will show you who they are and what they want to be when they grow up. The kids that play in the dirt a lot or garden or whatever, those will be the farmers. And, I can go on and on. Socrates talked about it a lot. He said you should take all the kids away from their parents and give them back when they're 18, but just watch what they do.
It's funny because if you tell a child that you have to be, because you're comparing your child to everything around you, as opposed to saying the world should be more like you from inside out, I think the kids will grow up a whole lot more confident.
Yes.
It is very exhausting to being like everybody else and comparing yourself to what other people do. Instead of saying, I'm good at what I do, they should be more like me. Just the opposite. And this isn't a kick towards parents. It's just the way things are today. And you meet a guy like Josh, who I think has the most talent I've ever seen of any producer in the years we've done this. One of the most. And this block that he has, always comparing himself on the outside. Well, they should compare themselves to him. The inside. Because something, if we were a lot like Josh, the world would be a whole lot better place. I'm being very honest with you.
You need some coaching.
Well, we haven't had a chance to talk to Arthur, so this is a perfect opportunity to talk about coaching, loving yourself, meditation, which clearly I do
And the
need.
book.
And your book.
Because she's dying to do this book. We're supposed to be doing the book.
Well, which book are we doing? Were we doing the one
You
that
tell
you
us
really
what-
work on yourself, or the one that's kind of like a daily book of virtues.
You tell us.
No, let's do the one working for yourself.
The journal?
The other one.
journal?
Yeah, because I want to ask you the very first, most important question. How do you have enough confidence to pick up that book and do it?
That's a great question. And like everything in life, it's an individual answer to that. So do you really want to work on yourself? Do you think that you need to work? Everybody needs to work on themselves to some degree. As
But
Michelle was talking before, this comes from how did we grow up? What were our parents like and so forth? This gets deep into answering those questions for you. Now, I had a woman buy this book the other day for her daughter, and I said, make sure, and our daughter's 18, I said, make sure that her daughter does it on her own. You don't intervene with it. She doesn't share this with you unless she wants to share it with you, because it's so individual, it's so personal. You have to know, you have to be able to answer these questions in private. You have to know that your answers, whatever they are sacrosanct to you. But it's for you to really, really go deep in figuring out, why do I do the things that I do? How do I do those things? Where did I learn them from? Who taught me this? Can I change some of those habits? And it makes you look at the other people in your life as well to say, oh, that's where I got that from. Maybe I don't want to do that anymore. Maybe that doesn't work for me anymore. To know that, you said this, it's an inside job. All of life is an inside job. Nothing comes from outside of us. We allow things to get into us from the outside. Michelle said it, and you guys said it too. People are trying to influence us all the time, and social media, in some sense, is the worst. It really is. It's drawn us closer in the sense that we can talk with other people, and we can get interests from other people. We can get other views from other people, but don't forget that it's just like all the news. I did a post 2 days ago about all the news media that's out there, and where they sit: left of center, center, right of center, right. So every news publication out there, whether it's on air or in paper, they have their bias. They're going to write a certain thing. If you don't take the time to say, I'm going to look at the New York Times and I'm going to look at the Wall Street Journal on the other side, if you don't do those things, you're only getting news from one source.
Did
And
you
that's
see
just
Fox just came out and admitted some unethical things that happened with the election,
Yeah.
that they said things that weren't so quite true
Yeah.
to bias everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
But they all do it. They all do it. It's just like when you're teaching your kids something, you're teaching them what you've learned. You don't know anything else. It's up to your children now to figure out, is that working for me or not?
Well, let me ask you, so when you go through this book, and clearly we all know things that bother us, some of us have an idea of where it stems from, whether it's our parents, our spouses, whatever it is. And you identify it in the book, and you write whatever it is. Is the next part, is there a coaching component to this that then says, well, if this is your trigger and you know you got it from here, these are ways to help eradicate or to change these feelings?
It's not just questions in here. It's giving you information about how to be a better person. But how you do that, how you go about it, you still have to find yourself. It's just like looking in the mirror, the same thing. You look in the mirror and you either like yourself or you don't. I mean, you'll know it instantly.
What
when
if you
look
don't
deep.
like the answers, the true answers you're giving yourself?
Yeah, well then find somebody to help you through it. Find a coach, find a psychotherapist or psychiatrist or somebody to help you. You don't have to do that's the other thing. You don't have to do any of this on your own, but isn't it great to be able to understand who you are? You say, I do these things, and then you question. It's just like, I'm sorry, I forgot her name that was here
Wendy?
talking about. Wendy. Kids know. You instinctively know. You still know, even though you're not a child, you still know instinctively who you are, who you want to be, what's going on in life. We've talked about this the last time I was on, which is you are influenced from the minute that you are born. Starts with your parents, then it starts with your other family members, your aunts, your uncles. Maybe you have an older brother or older sister or something like that. Then it becomes when you go to school. Then all of a sudden, in the neighborhood that you grew up in, it operates a certain way. And you start to, I mean, when I was young, how my neighborhood operated was, I'm, what, in 10th grade, not 10th grade, I'm sorry, 7th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade. I go down to the corner, and they're talking about robbing a store and stuff like that. I grew up in one of those neighborhoods where everything was like, yeah, we'll take what we want. Thank God I didn't do that.
I
But-
didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
Did you guys grow up in the same neighborhood?
Yeah, but there's 5 years difference between us. So, you know, by the time she got into school, I'm getting out of grammar school. By the time she gets into high school, I'm out of high school type of thing.
Interesting.
But that was the one neighborhood. I grew up in West New York, New Jersey. But things like that. So all of these things are influences.
But you guys are the perfect example of siblings growing up in the same household. I'm assuming the same parents.
Yep.
Same household.
And two different.
Two totally different experiences to the
Yeah.
point if that happened, that's a
Yeah.
neighborhood we lived in. That would be like me and my sister would have the same thing.
Me and my sister grew up with same house, same everything, and Harry, and the three of us grew up with three different stories.
Three different stories.
3 different stories, yeah.
And Frank, your story is so amazing. It's amazing, but yet not. That you are the way you are because God had a bigger calling for you. And said you're going to come in at 3 pounds and without the technologies of medicine like we have now.
Well, he's always wants to make a splash.
But there's a reason that
That's it.
Frank is here.
I got to make a grand entrance.
Always.
But you think about stories, your story and our triggers and Frank's stories and Lynn's story, and it's not why we sit here today. It's those stories that got us to where we
You know,
are.
I'm going to tell you something.
I have
Hold on. His, because I'm going to forget. His book it does test my patience. Because sometimes I want to take that book and put it in their ear so hard. Because I see things. I mean, we've been through so much in our life, and they have. That I want them to honestly look at this book and be honest. Because if you are honest, it's a good answer. It's not a bad answer.
Right, it is a good answer.
But they are afraid of good answers. They will believe more in the negative about themselves than in the positive. And then you say to me, Freddie, your blood pressure, the patience, you're right. It tests my will every single day because I want it so bad for them. I want them to read this and really analyze yourself. Look in that mirror, man, and come to the conclusion that what I see, what she sees is the same thing, is real.
Freddie, you know, you need for yourself to want to change. If
Yes.
you're not willing to do this, I started coaching a guy about smoking, real quick story. Finally, after session, do this, do that, and so forth, he goes, you know, Arthur, he goes, I really don't want to quit. But see, that was the whole thing. He would never quit smoking because he really didn't want to. He really wasn't invested in wanting to change. You have to be invested in yourself to want to change. I've spent decades changing myself, decades. And I still spend time every day waking up, thanking God for my life to start, and then move about my day, to have more patience, to be more kind, to be more loving, to be more compassionate, to be more caring. It's all of those things that we all need to do. I want to create peace in the world. People will say that's, yeah, let's go for it. But it can happen because as we create peace in our life, that shows up as peace everywhere else. We judge other people all the time for no reason. We meet them in 10 seconds, we've judged them until we start to hopefully get to know them. And then when we get to know them, we see that they're the same as us. You are me, I am you, 100%. We may act a little different, we may do things slightly differently, but the bottom line is that you want to be happy, and you want to be loved, and you want peace in your life. And every single person on this planet wants exactly the same thing, and they deserve it. So go about doing things to help somebody else, and you'll find out how quickly you're helping yourself by doing that.
You know, Carolyn Mace talks about living your life with the world behind your eyes, not in front of your eyes. But what I wanted to say about I used to do workshops on conscious parenting, and here's just a little snippet of how kids get indoctrinated into the world and how they form beliefs and stop trusting their intuition. So your parents are fighting, okay? And, you know, the child is like scared, frightened, and it goes into the room and they're crying, and the parent comes in, mother or father or whatever, it says, honey, what's wrong? It said, I just get so scared when, you know, you and dad are fighting. And she goes, oh, we're not fighting. We weren't fighting. We weren't fighting. That wasn't fighting that you heard. And that's it. And so what happens? A child knows that they were fighting, but mommy or daddy's telling me, no, they weren't fighting. She just said, oh, it's okay. We weren't fighting. It was nothing. It's so much better to say yes, and I'm either apologize, I'm sorry you had to hear that, but parents do disagree at times. But that's one of the first indications when kids start to say, I don't trust what I'm feeling. And that's huge, and that happens so often in families where parents, not intentionally at all, but they deny their children's perspective and their feeling. And that's how we start to shut down and not believe what we know to be true inside.
And then you end up marrying someone like that, and all of a sudden it gets really
She's
complicated.
laughing over there.
It really gets complicated because let's say that you have that confidence because you grew up in a good home, and then you marry somebody who's just the opposite, and all of a sudden you wonder why there's so much divorce. All of a sudden you're trying to figure out, well, what happened? Why can't we get along? Because exactly what you said is not viewed. That's what we're going through. And then you wonder why I'm so frustrated. Why I have no patience. You're going to hang me twice. Because it just frustrates me to no end. Maybe because I started coaching at an early age.
Thank you, Wendy. It was our absolute pleasure.
In my life. I've been coaching kids that were 5, 6, all the way to 21. I did it for 20 some odd years. And I see how good kids can be. If you just let them be kids, let them grow up learning little by little. But don't take away their shine. Add to their shine. If you can do that, this is why I think your book, it should be part of every curriculum in the Board of Ed.
But it's hard to be honest with yourself.
Only if you're not. Do you know what makes the word hard to be honest with yourself? It's the word hard. Because if you didn't know that word, you wouldn't use it. You wouldn't use it.
And I know we had to wrap up, but before we do, I want to talk
Where
to
we
Frank
going?
and Lynn.
Oh.
Do you both do what you do? I know the answers. How do you do what you do to help others? Because I know you both are here to help others, to serve others.
So, in my healing and learning to speak my truth to myself is where everything started for me, because I can hear all the stories and lies outside of me, but I'll never be able to discern what's true until I decide what's true within me. And so the reason that I work with people is because I want them to be able to know the truth of them. Because if you know the truth of you, everything else can flow from that.
Interesting.
True that.
Yeah. I want basically the same. I want them to experience the truth that they need to find for themselves.
Are you a patient man?
Am I patient?
Yeah.
She's laughing.
Some things. I'm
That's
patient.
like being pregnant sometimes. Are you a patient man, yes or no?
I am patient until I am
not.
Not.
So am I.
They both gave up impatience
I am.
for
I am
life, remember?
patient. I am patient until I am
not
confronted with stupidity.
Patience doesn't come in wrapping. That's the problem you and I share. It's the reason she points it out, because without patience, you lose your vision because you get upset. And sometimes you need a book like that to get it back, because you know there is a way. It's funny because my father always said to me, you may think there isn't, but there is always a way. And there you have a way. So yeah, the answer is yes, we are patient.
Yes, we are.
Leave it at that.
I love that you said that, because most people are always trying to pick out the problem when what we need to do is always be looking for solutions.
I
There's
know my
always a
problems. I need the
solution for
solution.
everything.
You know, there's no coincidences. Before I drew a card, They took my picture for social media, and I held up my book, Tres Archangelis, and there's a sword on the cover. So the card I drew
was the sword.
Was the swordsman.
That's when the door opened.
You're a sword. You are a sword, my
Oh
friend.
my gosh. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. It's the way it aligns with Wendy coming in and talking about all their new curriculum for Elite Foundation is amazing. And Lynn, I didn't even dawn on me, no pun intended, your story sitting next to Wendy until you were shaking your head.
I was wondering when you were going to get to that.
And then, like, it was not my story to tell, but when I realized what it was and everything connected, it was like
It
last
goes like
week,
this,
even bigger, like
all the way down.
even bigger than I realized. Yeah. Like when SOS was here last week also. Those connections that happen here are amazing. So thank you all so much for joining us. And you're
It's
in
a
town, so we're
pleasure
going to have
being
more
here.
of you.
How long are you in town for?
Till May, June.
She's here for a while.
Oh, so we can have you back, all right.
More to come. If you want one of Frank Ruffolo's books, you can get them right here now at the studio. So signed books, he signed them all, and you'll have your own signed copy. So purchase right here. Make it easy. You don't have to pay any of those stores anymore online. Lynn will be here on Thursday with
No,
Editor's
Lynn will be
Desk.
here
Lynn will be here
tomorrow.
tomorrow. We've got someone for you to meet tomorrow. We couldn't bring her in because there's a lot of people, but a new story. Tune in today at 3 o'clock for the Meta Lifestyle Magazine show. You and I are going to be
3
on the
o'clock?
3 o'clock on the cover, so we have to do an interview after that. And apparently there's a networking event next week to spotlight us, so I'll give everyone that information. I got the email
He's
today.
coming to the
I did not know that was happening until
All
I saw
sorts
the
of
email.
stuff. And everybody's invited. I don't know where the hell I'm going, but you're all invited. I would like to walk into a venue like that with all of us.
Okay.
So they go, what the hell is this?
He'll be here
Interesting
today, so
read.
we're going to find that. Michelle, thank you so much.
have no
it's
idea.
Next Tuesday night at 5:30.
The guy's coming at 2:50 with the invitation.
We got the email this morning letting us know that it was for us, so we'll find out more in about a half hour.
Strange. Life is strange, man.
All right, have a great afternoon, everyone. Tune into the Meta Lifestyle Show, and we will see you in a little bit.
And don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.